This is the question asked in today's skillrack daily challenge. So we will be given an integer n as input. So here n is equal to 5. So in our output we have to print n into 2 minus 1 lines. So n into 2 is 10 and 10 minus 1 is 9. So if we count the total number of lines in our output pattern, we will be having 9 lines. So in the first line we have to print only one value. So in the first line of our output pattern we are printing only the integer 1, and in the next line we are printing two values, so one asterisk and then one integer, and then in the third line we are printing three values, two asterisks and one integer, and then in the fourth line we are printing three asterisks and one integer. So like this the number of values in every line keeps on increasing until we reach the half. So here now we have reached the fifth line. In the fifth line we are printing 0 asterisks and 5 integers, and here the integers should be printed in reverse. So here we can see that 5 and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So it is coming in reverse order, and then after 5 we are following a new pattern. So now again we are printing one asterisk and then one integer. So even though it has two digits, it is considered as a one integer 10. And then after this again we are having three values, so two asterisks and then one integer, and again three asterisks, one integer, and four asterisks, one integer. So this is how our output pattern is formed. So now let us see the asterisks in the given pattern. So in the first line we have 0 asterisks, in the second line we have 1 and then 2, 3, and again once when we reach the nth line there are 0 asterisks, and again 1, 2, 3, it is incrementing one by one. So this is how the asterisk is being incremented. Now let us see the values. So in the first line we have only one value, we have 0 asterisks and one integer, and in the next line we have two values, one asterisk and one integer, and it keeps on increasing 2, 3, 4, and once when we reach 5 then again the number of values is decreased to 2. So we have one asterisk and again one integer. So again from 2 it increments to 3, 4, 5 like that. So now let us see how to write a C program for this. So first I am creating a new integer n, and then using a scanf I am accepting the integer n as input, and the number of lines will be n into 2 minus 1. So I am updating the value of n. So I am setting n is equal to n into 2 minus 1. So now I am creating three more integer variables named stars count and then counter and val, and initially I am setting stars count and counter to 0, and I am setting value is equal to 1. So now we have to print n lines of output. So I am creating a loop that iterates from 0 to n. So we will be printing n lines of output. So in every line we have to print asterisks as well as integers in reverse order. So first we are going to implement the logic for updating the value of stars count. So in our output pattern we were able to see that the stars count was incrementing, and once when we reach the middle it became 0. So here initially the star count was 0 and then it became 1, and once when we reach the fifth line it becomes 0, and again the stars count is 1, 2, 3 like that incrementing. So we are writing a logic for that. If I is equal to 0 or I is equal to n by 2, then we are setting star count is equal to 0, else we set star count is equal to star count plus 1. So this is how we will be incrementing the value of the variable star count. Similarly, next we have to update the value of the variable counter. So counter is nothing but total number of values present in each and every line, including asterisks and integers. So if we see our pattern, in the first line we have one value, and then in the second line we have 2, and then 3, 4 and 5, and once when we reach 5 then it becomes 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So like this the counter is incrementing. So now we have to write logic accordingly. So we will be setting counter is equal to counter plus 1. But if we are in the first line after the middle, so if I is equal to n by 2 plus 1, then the counter will become 2, because after the middle line the number of values in the next line will be 2. So that is how our output pattern is present. So in those cases alone, we will set counter is equal to 2. And now I'm creating a loop that iterates from 0 to I less than stars count, and we will print the asterisk. And after printing the asterisk, we have to print the integer. But here the integer should be printed in reverse order. So in order to print the integers in reverse order, first we are going to determine the last integer, and then we will be printing. So we know the number of values that to be printed in each and every line, and we also know the stars count. So the absolute difference between the counter and stars count is nothing but the total number of integers which we need to print in every line. So here first I am calculating the absolute difference between the difference of counter and stars count, and this val is nothing but, initially we have set it to 1 because the first integer which we need to print is 1. So the absolute difference plus val will be the last integer which we need to print. So next I am creating a loop that iterates from start minus 1 till val, and we will print the integer. So that will be the required output pattern. So we will be printing the integer in reverse order, and after we have to update the value of val. So I am setting val is equal to start, because in the next line the values should be printed accordingly as per the given pattern. So that is why we set val is equal to start, and then finally we print a new line. So this is the logic in order to print the pattern given in today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.